Hi, I just want to make sure that everyone can see me before we start. And if you can just let me know in the chat box if you can hear and see me. I would make sure your audio is on, make sure your screen is on. But I just wanted to make sure that everyone can see and hear me for today's webinar to take power over your paper. So in the next few minutes before we go live with everyone and start everything, I just wanted to make sure that everyone can see and hear me. So if you wouldn't mind, and in the, I guess it is called the chat room box, if you could let me know if you can see and hear me, that would be great to make sure that everyone's audio and visual is working. Great. Okay, some people can see and hear me. And just want to make sure, again, I'm Rachel, and before we start today, I want to make sure that everyone can see and hear me. So if you could, in the chat box, let me know if you can see and hear me, that would be great. Yes, yes. Okay, wonderful. Again, just trying to make sure everyone can see and hear me before we actually start. All right, I see a bunch of people online. So again, just trying to check and make sure that everyone can see and hear me before we start everything. Okay, I'm seeing a bunch of yeses, so that's good. Good. All right, we'll start in probably 1 minute just to make sure that everyone is able to see and hear me. So again, I know I'm repeating myself, but want to make sure that all of our audio and visual systems are working for everyone. So again, if you could let me know in the chat box if you can hear me, that would be great. And see me, of course. Great, another person can see and hear me. Okay, just in about 30 seconds, because it looks like the video and audio is working for people. Okay, so I think we will begin. I just want to say that I am so excited for you guys to be here on this webinar, Take Power Over Your Paper, and thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Rachel Rosenthal, and I am a professional organizer and corporate event planner. And I help individuals, families, small businesses, and get organized. Paper is by far the biggest hurdle that I find in every home and business that I go into. I see it every single day in my organizing business. And this webinar is teaching you about the steps that you need to take in the process to finally be clear of that paper clutter and the systems you can put in place by yourself to get everything organized. So what I'm going to do now is talk a little bit about the housekeeping that we're going to have before we start this seminar. So let me go into that before we get going. Okay, so hopefully you guys can all see the screen right now. And we're going to go over a little bit of housekeeping before we actually begin with our content. So if you could put this webinar into full screen and turn off your cell phone and find a quiet space and grab a pen and a paper. I think there's going to be a lot of information throughout today that you're not going to want to miss. And just so you all know, from time to time, you might see my assistant, Jordan, who is on the webinar with me, pop up from time to time on the sidebar to help answer some questions. So she'll be here and she'll provide some hopefully useful links to you guys as well. So again, I am so excited that you are here today and have taken time out of your day to talk about all things paper organization. And if we want to accomplish all these things, then you're in the perfect place to make it happen. And just congratulations overall to taking action and join me for today's webinar. Here are the things that we are going to cover today. So we are going to cover purging that paper that you don't need, and that is about 80% of your paper that we're going to talk about that can be gone. We are going to talk about setting up a system to maintain your paper for the rest of your life. We're next going to talk about actually using a filing system and determining what type of system you need. We're then going to talk about using your paper, power over your paper, so you can spend more time with your family or doing the things that you love. And then finally, I'm going to show you how to eliminate almost the entire need for paper in your life altogether. So just a brief overview of our agenda for today. First, I'm going to tell you a quick story about how I got into professional organizing. I can't wait to share my journey with all of you. Then we're going to cover the 2 case studies of individuals who have used my process to organize their paper. Then we're going to go over how to apply my paper organization process to your home or to your office, because it's either both or. And then finally, we're going to wrap up with some question and answers. And this webinar right now is slated for about 60 minutes. So I wanted to take a quick poll before we begin, just to see how many of you all have heard about me before this webinar. If you could write your answers into our question box, I'd greatly appreciate it. And I would love to talk about and see if anyone has seen or heard about me before this webinar. Okay, I see, yes, Alex, you follow me on Instagram. Jen, you are on my newsletter list. Wonderful, thank you. Stacy saw a post on Facebook for the class. Wonderful. Jay worked with me in your office. Okay, wonderful. So Jay is a client. I helped him a few years ago get his file room organized. Sandra also worked with me recently. Welcome, Sandra. Marissa, have not heard of me, but saw the Facebook post. Okay, great. Please keep these coming. I would love to know if you have heard of me before this webinar before. Roya, I see, found me on the internet about a year ago. Wonderful. Barb, we used to work together in law school. Okay. And then Candace, my husband, saw your post on Facebook and thought we should take this class. Wonderful. Susie, I see you have through my newsletter. Okay, this is great. Aaron, yes, since high school. Mel, I attended a speech of mine. Okay, great. So there's sort of a mixture of people who have before and who have no idea who I am. So that's great. Okay, so just a brief after this poll, I wanted to sort of give you a picture of me and talk a little bit about those who don't know me, and for those who do know me, bear with me, but I hopefully give you a little bit more information. So this is a picture that was taken recently of me and my identical twins in our new home. They are mini organizers, just like me, so I'm really proud. But let's start off a little bit about my story. I was born and still live in the Washington, D.C. area. I would love to start off with this typical, I knew I wanted to be an organizer since I lined up my dolls or, worked as an organizer since kindergarten, but my journey was a little different. I've always been organized, but I had to learn a lot and hone in on my process for many years to make it successful. I had started off my career with my Juris Doctorate and went to law school, and after I graduated, what I thought I wanted to do with my whole life was be a lawyer too, just like my father. I was young, I was just out of law school in a wonderful city, but completely buried under piles and piles of paperwork at my desk. And some days, and most days, I usually ate 3 meals at my desk, which I'm sure is common for a lot of people who are on the webinar today. I spent a lot more time organizing the paper surrounding me than actually enjoying what I was doing. And I thought for a while about why I wasn't happy doing what I was doing, because I had always dreamed about doing what I had actually been doing at that point. But I felt guilt that I'd gone to law school but wasn't happy at my desk on a daily basis. And so I knew I wanted to do something creative. And so I started asking friends and family and coworkers what they thought I was good at. And in case you haven't guessed it already, it was and still is organizing. So I left my job to start my organizing business, Rachel and Company, at the end of 2006, so I could help others get organized too. And I knew that if organizing my papers was a hurdle for me, it probably was also a hurdle for many others juggling work and home life. So I began working with clients and realized that there were so many people out there that weren't enjoying their lives and doing the things that they loved because they were buried under paper. And this was painful to experience myself and then for my clients. Paper was holding these people back from living their lives, and it was taking up precious space in their home, in their offices, and causing them to spend so much more money than they had, or causing stress so severe that many times I found my clients' papers hiding in boxes or trash bags that they never even looked at. So for many people, it was paralyzing at times. And after helping about 50 clients or so organize their paper, I realized that there was some steps that work for almost everyone and some of the same steps that just didn't work at all. So this is how I began creating my system for paper organizing, and the system that you only need to do once to have your papers organized for life. Now, after using my system over the past few years to help hundreds of clients, as well as using it for myself through many different points in my life, including being single, as a business owner, as a new mom, as a single mom now of identical twins, I've honed in on exactly what works and what's a waste of time. So as we all know, life changes frequently, and so do your needs for paper. And that's why getting your papers organized and having a system is so key. We can't control so many things in our life, but I've found that having a system that we can control around paper is a huge step towards being organized overall. You become more productive and just more happy in general. I was single and then became a mom of two, and my paper more than doubled. And then as a business owner, I was confronted with even more paper, but I had never felt overwhelmed by the amount of paper until I went through a divorce. As an organized person, I was truly shocked at the overwhelming feeling I experienced when I went through my divorce. If I wasn't already busy enough, I was very suddenly a single mom of twins and still running two businesses, and not to mention obviously the emotional overload. But keeping my paper organized was extremely tough. I'm sure some of you have experienced this, and the amount of paperwork that comes with a divorce is massive. It's a full-time job and then some. So I'm really lucky to have a great support system and family in the area, but for someone who doesn't have all that, I do not know how they keep their sanity or a job. And I also credit extremely my systems around paper. So between my divorce, selling my house, changing insurance, bank accounts, and all the other things that come along with the amount of paper coming in, it was making me feel really bad about myself. My paper was piling up on my desk, the kitchen table, and all around my house. And while I was still trying to maintain my organization for the first time, I truly felt unorganized. And I realized exactly at that moment how my clients were feeling when they first started tackling their paper clutter. So that's to say, I've been where you've been, extremely overwhelmed with and buried in papers. But because I've been there, I know exactly that it is possible to come out on top of all this, and I wanted to share that with you all today. So here are a few places that I've been featured for my organizing expertise, including my paper boot camp. This is me a few Sundays ago on Fox 5 here in the Washington, D.C. area, talking about spring organizing during their morning segment. I gave tips on all areas of the home, including some easy paper tips to make that huge impact, and more on that later. This is me at a health and fitness event, hence the outfit, speaking to a few hundred people about how organization relates to health and the benefits of organizing on your health and well-being. That was a really fun event, and I was really honored to be asked to be a speaker. Later on in the event, we did a group aerobics workout, which was really fun to be surrounded by hundreds of people all doing the same fitness and dance routine. Some of you on this webinar might recognize this woman. Her name is Stacey London from the show What Not to Wear and her new show on TLC called Love, Lust, or Run. But what many people don't know about her is she also created a styling business that I became director of operations for and helped them train, hire, and contract out several hundred stylists across the country. I worked with her from the ground up on this company and keeping everything organized, whether it was in the office, to paperwork, to hiring, to keeping track of everyone that was a part of this organization. And let me tell you, people always ask me all the time if she's as tough as she was on the show, and she was. So getting her seal of approval on my organization skills was no easy feat, but I'm extremely proud of it. So again, back to my pose, and you'll see me do this throughout the webinar. I wanted to see where everyone was at with organizing their paper. So I want to see how often you actually organize your paper, or I should say, try to organize your paper. So for instance, is it once a week, once a month, constantly, never? I would love to see your answers in the comment boxes to see, again, where we all are with organizing our paper or attempting to organize our paper. Okay, so in the chat box, I'm seeing Anne. Whenever people come over, yes, you stuff it into a box. Okay, Sarah, My husband's papers are organized, but mine are a huge mess. I let him organize. Okay. Ben, only when a pile is so big I can't see my desk. That's a good thing. Marie, every day, but I get overwhelmed and don't finish. Okay. Julie, I see never. That's why I'm on this webinar. I see Susie, daily with school papers, once a week with mail. Charlotte, once a week. I try to keep it down to a weekly schedule, but often run out of time. Naomi, I see once a week. Max, I organize every day at my office, but otherwise I lose my job. But at home, I avoid it because it's been piling up for years. And I'm sure, Max, you are not alone. Okay, I see Courtney a couple times a month. And Claire, I see almost never. That's why I lose everything. Okay, so it sounds like we are all at different points in our organizing of paper, and that it's helpful for me to know where everyone is. Okay, so now I want to move away from sort of my personal story and let you know about a few people who are not organizers. They're just regular people like you. They're busy with different jobs and different responsibilities who've used my paper organization systems successfully. First, I wanted to introduce you to Liz. She's a client of mine that have worked hands-on with me to complete her system here. And now, by hands-on, I don't mean that I did it for her. I was there for guidance and support, but the truth is, you have to organize and purge your own papers, and no one can do it for you. So Liz is married. She has 3 sons. She also has a small business, and she owns a children's clothing boutique and does all of her business paperwork as well as her personal paperwork for her family from her home office. When we started out together, she had everything mixed together, which, as I'm sure you can imagine, made things like taxes incredibly difficult. She also had all of her business records in file boxes stacked in her basement for the last 8 years. She completed my paper organization system and had amazing results. And as a point of reference, again, she was a mom of 3, or is a mom of 3, and was 10 years as a small business owner. And it took her about 2 months of purging and organizing her paper to complete the entire system. And this was with spending about an hour, a few days a week, trying to work on purging her paper and getting it organized. What was truly impressive about Liz and inspiring was that after we were finished together, she emailed me to let me know that she'd spoke to her lawyer to find out exactly what she needed to keep for her business and from year to year, and was able to get those stacks of file boxes emptied from her basement, and now has everything from previous years all fitting into a 1-2-drawer file cabinet, and all for family papers in one small drawer and one small filing drawer. So she was truly impressive. I'm excited about her progress. The next person I want to tell you about is someone that, again, I'm truly proud of, but had a really rough start, but now makes this whole system seem really easy. Cami is a client of mine that I worked with virtually. We set up coaching calls and I guided her through the steps, much like how I do in my online boot camp that we're going to talk about in a bit, but she took matters into her own hands. Now, not only did she have too much paper, but it wasn't organized in the slightest. She admitted to me that she just couldn't deal with her paper, so she would shove it into piles wherever she could, under her bed, in her closets, just to hide them. Basically, anything short of throwing it away, because she just didn't know if she was ever going to use it or need it again. And she said that she didn't have the time to go through it. So, which is a common factor for many of us on this webinar today. Lack of time can make getting organized seem impossible. So Cami's story is one of my favorites because she's also a lawyer, just like I was. And when we first spoke, I knew exactly what she was going through. She was married with no kids and had the problem of paperwork at home and in her office, so we worked on both. Now, in her case, we started off in her office and finished it completely before moving on to her home. It turned out that most of the paper in the bags or underneath their bed or in the closet, which we found was junk mail and old credit card statements, magazines, or other things that were really easy once we got into it to figure out that she could toss. It only took her a few weeks to get everything in her home and office organized. So I worked with Cami a few years ago, and today I'd like to report that she has since left her law firm and started her own practice. And I truly believe that she could not have done this if her papers were in the state that they were in when we started. So in fact, I really believe that she couldn't have done it. So having her paper organized gave her the time and energy to go ahead and do this. So here I want to give you a little background on paper and disorganization in general to help you see the big picture about why having an organization solution surrounding your paper that actually works is so important. You are not the only one on this webinar that feels overwhelmed or who's ignoring the problem in general. Paper is a huge problem for everyone. And if you take a look at this statistic, 80% of the paper in your home or your office that you keep, you will never look at again. Now, 80% is a huge number. Imagine if you could cut down the paper in your home or office right now to just 20% of its current size. It would be absolutely more manageable. Or how about this fact? A standard household filing cabinet with just 2 small drawers hold over 5,200 sheets of paper. Now, not one person or family member should be responsible for that much paper. The average American spends 1 year of their life looking for lost or misplaced items at home or in the office. This is a great stat from the U.S. News and World Report. And because most of that is probably paper, imagine the time you could get back. And going back to Liz and Cammie for a second, the common thing with both of these women is that they did it themselves. I wasn't doing it for them, and I wasn't standing over their shoulders for a few months or weeks straight. So they used my program for getting paper organized and followed it step by step and were able to do it all themselves and maintain it. And you can do this too, I promise. It's very easy. Organizing really doesn't have to be difficult. It's not the actual physical organizing that's hard. It's our feelings surrounding the items, our emotions, or our feelings of overwhelm or disappointment in ourselves because we've avoided it maybe for so long. But I promise you that once you move past those personal issues, and the actual organization will not seem as hard as it once did. So I'm going to tell you right now the exact steps that you need to take in order to get your paper organized once and for all. But again, it is up to you to actually implement them into your life and to give yourself the time and patience that all these things deserve. So watching this webinar is not a quick fix. I'm sorry for that, but the only people who are going to be successful and come out on top of their paper are the ones who put in the time and effort. Your papers are not going to magically disappear. You have to hold them in your hands and make the decisions. My solution only has 5 key steps, and so we're going to work through them one by one, and I promise if you do, you're going to be successful. So again, because I love polls, I want to know, why do you think most people want to get organized around their paper but can't? Does anyone have any thoughts around this before we dive into the actual steps? Let's see what we have here with our poll. Okay, I have Jerry saying that not enough time. Absolutely, that is the #1 thing. I see Mona saying absolutely overwhelmed. Barb, I don't know where to start. Okay, Deborah, I don't put in enough time or effort. Karen, it's expensive to buy products. Anne, too little time. Brittany, too busy with 2 small children. Lizzie, time. Jackie, I work long hours. Okay. All right, so seems like time and overwhelmed or not knowing where to start is really hard. Then I see Claire, they aren't organized enough to make time. Absolutely. Don't know where to begin. Okay. So now we're going to go back to our slides and actually dive into our system here. Okay, so here's an overview of my 5-step system for taking power over your paper. And this is, again, make sure to take out a pen and a paper because there's a lot of information really quickly. So 1, we're going to purge. Step 2, we're going to sort and organize. Step 3, we're going to create individualized systems. Step 4, we are going to go paperless. Step 5, we're going to keep it up for the rest of our lives. And now let's get into a little bit more depth for each of these steps. So step 1 is to purge the paper that you don't need. we're going to go back to our statistic, because more likely than not, you can get rid of 80% of the paper that you have currently. And this is a key step, and it's just impossible to organize thousands upon thousands of paper that you actually don't need, because you're going to waste so much time. So what you're going to do at home or in your office is you're going to grab a stack of paper and start sorting through them to determine what you need to recycle, what you need to shred, and what needs to be kept, and what needs to get action upon it, or what actions can be done on those. Don't get off track at this point on putting them into different categories. This is the most important task. You are just going to do this step extremely fast. Don't worry about anything else at this point. It should be really quick. And I'm going to give you a few examples. So examples of things that we might shred would be old bank statements. Examples of trash might be some magazines if they can't be recycled. Our trash and recycle kind of go together. Things that we might keep at this point might be something that's important to you for your work, a letter from your boss, or your children's report card. At this point, again, we are not making any sort of decisions about these paper. We're just making huge piles on the floor or a desktop so that we are not going to get off track. And then we're going to go stack by stack to make sure it's much faster. Again, we're going to toss, we're going to recycle, we're going to shred, we're going to keep some papers because they're sort of more safe, and then we are going to put aside the papers that actually have to have an action on them. At this point, we're not going to waste time on recycling or throwing things away. We're just trying to get our paper cut down by 80% that we have. Again, if you find something that needs to be shredded, just put it into its own pile, but don't take the time at this point to shred or get off track. This is the most important step, and we're going to do it and try to do it very quickly. Step 2, we are going to sort and organize. Now, again, if I mentioned, you need to do these steps in order. So for this one, it's 2. What we're going to have left after step 1 is we're going to try to refine all those papers left from step 1 even more. Now, we are left with only the paper that we need to hold on to after step 1. So we have our shredded things, we have recycled things, and now we have that one pile of paper that are absolute must-keeps. For step 2, you need to create categories and then subcategories that make sense to you, that you can follow along with, and that can grow and adapt as your needs change. So the categories of paper that you end up with are not going to be the same as your neighbor, your spouse, your sister, your coworker, or even what I personally use. Now, again, there's no writing here. Let me emphasize that, where you're just going to be categorizing those papers that we have left after step 1. So first, we're going to make some quick general categories that are our larger categories. For example, things like medical or schooling, if you have children, or maybe you're going to divide things by child, or banking, taxes, home improvement receipts. Again, these are general categories. We don't need to be perfect with our categories at this point. We just want to get them down. And let me emphasize here with this step, less is more, and the simpler the better. The less detail we have for banking, or if you want to call it your bank name, the better. But again, we'd want to use simple categories here. We are going to then use those same simple steps for subcategories and refine what we have in our larger categories. Again, we're going to get into this in a little bit more detail later, but here we're going to be doing the same thing when we subcategory as we did for our main category. So, for example, if you've made a main category that has just titled medical, you might put something in more detail in that medical folder. Maybe it's by doctor or by child. Again, it's how you are going to best recall it. Because again, we're going to try to recall our paper, because only 20% of that paper that we go into file is actually going to be looked at. So that's our step 2 for sorting and organizing, and I will absolutely answer tons of questions at the end of this webinar. So if you do have questions, hold them till the end, and I will get to them if they are specific questions to you. Step 3, we're next going to create an individualized system. So this is, in step 3, we're going to actually use our filing system. So just buying a filing cabinet, which I know many of us are, doesn't count as creating a system. I'm very sorry to tell you. I know a lot of people think it is, but also just having shoved papers in there aimlessly, You're not actually organizing. You are hiding those papers in a filing cabinet versus organizing. So in this step, we're going to use the categories that we created and our subcategories in step 2, and we're going to build our filing system into something that can encompass everything that you need. Your filing system, just like those folders in step 2, should be easy, and actually retrieving the papers once they should be filed should be even easier. And when I say this should be easy, it should mean that as soon as you need to file something, you are dropping a piece of paper into your filing system in 2 seconds or less. Do not get overcomplicated with this step. Again, this is the same less is more situation. I'm a big proponent of not having 100 folders in order to find out where my tax return is, for example, or something else I want to reference quickly. The less you have, the more categorized or less categories you have, the easier it is going to be able to find. So not a poll, but I just wanted to see how many of you have a filing cabinet, and how many of you who have a filing cabinet think that you are using it the correct way, or it's doing you justice having the filing cabinet with you. So again, how many of you on this webinar, and there are a bunch of you, so how many of you have a filing cabinet, and if you do have a filing cabinet, feel like it's being used in the correct way, or it's working for you? Okay, so I can see Ben, I have a filing cabinet and I haven't opened it in 6 years. Is that bad? Okay, Sasha, I have a filing cabinet. Anne, I have a filing cabinet and use it, but I don't think correctly. Okay. Deborah, I don't have one. Kelly, I don't have one. I'm asking, I need recommendations. Okay, so just looking at this, Naomi, too many categories in the files. Robin, I have a cabinet, but there's too much in it. Roya, yes, not as efficient as I would like, need to purge. Okay, so a lot of our filing cabinets, if we do have them, are overwhelmed, have too much in it. There might not be a system, which is kind of the takeaway that I'm seeing with a bunch of these comments, and I'm sorry if I'm not getting to all your comments. I'm just trying to get to a few to make sure we move on and get to the rest of the content. Okay, so we're going to create individualized systems based on our needs, so that filing cabinet, if you do have it, is actually worth keeping. Okay, so what we're going to do at this point is take out a pen and a piece of paper when we're with our papers, and we're going to write down what all the categories of paper that we think we need to keep. And in this sense, again, we're going to think big. So is it medical, or is it dentist, or is it primary care, pediatrician? Again, this is going to be where you decide what you need and what you will reference best. These are then become the main part of our filing system, or what I like to call the hanging files in your filing system. And then we're going to do this later on again with the subcategories, are the folders within our main hanging files. So don't worry if you are finding papers that don't fit into any of your categories. Put them into a stack and we'll go over what to do with them later. Just be sure not to stretch to find a home for them, because then you're not going to be able to find them when you actually need to reference them in the end. Okay, again, next we're going to go to step 4, which is going paperless. So this step is not required, but using a paperless system like scanners or even email, online cloud storages, paying your bills online can drastically cut down on the amount of paper that comes into your home or office, and that you then in turn have to organize. So I do highly recommend it. It is not required with things, but I do highly recommend trying to go through step 4 with going paperless. You not only will cut down on the need to organize things, but what you have less of will prevent yourself from ever feeling that overwhelmed or drowning in paper again. And the easiest way to do this is to limit that paper that you actually receive. So less to organize obviously means less stress and less time spent on your papers. So we're going to cut down on the paper coming into your home, And a lot of you might do these things now, but here's some suggestions for all those that don't. You're going to call up maybe credit card companies, your cable provider, or any other service provider and ask to switch to digital bills. You can also use a cloud system for organizing all the documents that you have that you're able to access anywhere. I like Dropbox personally, but there are tons of other programs like Google Docs for Gmail users that you can store documents offline and not have the paper. You can also scan documents that are important to you, but are I would call the non-negotiables. So I make a distinction here between important documents, which is like tax returns or business receipts that you can scan, but the non-negotiable things that you probably can't scan are things like birth certificates, social security cards, marriage license, those pieces of paper that you actually have to have the physical piece of paper to keep. Again, we'll go into this in much more detail, but I do think that going paperless is truly a huge part of keeping you sane, feeling less overwhelmed, and truly more organized when it comes to your paper. So back to one of my polls, I want to get a sense of where everyone is at. So mail. How many of you have a pile of mail somewhere in your house right now? And then where are your piles? And this is where I want you really to be honest. We are all in this together, but mail is, you know, the number one thing. A lot of you on this webinar are probably at work, or some of you are at home. I just want to see if you can look around, even in your office, where is there mail, and if so, where is it? And again, be honest. I know as an organizer, I found mail everywhere. Or maybe you can just let me know if you have mail anywhere. Yes, Roberts. Okay. Yes, Bree. Mara, many piles of mail. Kelly, of course. Jamie, yes. Pat, no, I throw a lot away because I don't even want to look at it. Okay, Pat. Linda, yes. Liz, I'm embarrassed to say how many piles. Hannah, yes, but they're all important. Junk mail usually goes into the trash or recycling can. Wow, good job, Hannah. Joan, lots of piles. Carol, yes, I take it in my purse. Naomi, yes, my husband does. Courtney, in my handbag. Okay. Brian, no. So for the most part, I would say that most of you have piles of mail someplace. Roya, yes, in a bin, coupons, offers, etc. Okay, so for overall, I would say most people, I'm looking at this, and again, I'm trying to go through these as quick as I can, have it somewhere. Okay. So now we're going to go to step 5. Step 5 of my system, I feel like, is the key to it all. And it talks about how to keep it up for the rest of your life. Because yes, it is true. We want to organize and keep it up for the rest of our life. So, excuse me. You need a system for future papers to make it easy to determine, obviously, what gets tossed, what gets filed, and what you currently need, and when it can hit sort of the shredder or recycle. So from now on, your paper should be decided on within the first few minutes it enters your home or office. And I'm a big believer in never touching a single piece of paper more than a few times. And I'm going to go into detail about these 3 things in a bit. Because your time of avoiding the mailbox, the mound of papers on your desk, you know, and the stack in the trunk of your car is over, I promise you, after being on this webinar. But you have to stick with your system that you're putting so much time and effort into, because trust me, sticking with it may mean a few minutes each day or evening, but those 1 to 2 minutes will save you hours or days or even months on your life, I promise you. So we're going to talk about these 3 rules that we have here, and I'm a big rule follower at heart, and I know many people hate rules, but I truly believe and know that these rules can change how you live when it comes to paper. So first, we're going to talk about the 3-time touch rule. So this rule means that you're never going to touch a piece of paper more than 3 times. So 3 times that I can think of for most people are when you receive it, when you take action on it, and when you file or toss it. So that's it. After those 3 touches, you're just procrastinating about the action that needs to get done on that piece of paper. And whether you realize it or not, this is causing more stress and more time for you. So I'm a big believer in 3 times and it's done. And I'm going to go over those times again. When you receive it, when you take an action on it, and when you file or toss it. When I say toss it, that means whether it's recycle or shred or trash, that's part of that 3rd touch. After that, that's it. Next is the front door rule. So automatically, if you can, determine what you need to keep before you move past that front door or wherever that mail comes in. You're going to either toss the junk mail into a recycling bin automatically, like someone who just had mentioned, or you're going to throw it into a trash can. You're going to have a shredder nearby, but seriously, try not to take it past that front door, and whether that's the door of your office or the door of your home, without knowing where it's going. Usually those piles of mail or pieces of paper end up because there's no place for it. So if you can think about that front door rule and not taking it past somewhere where it needs to go, that's great. The final rule that I have is the 2-minute rule. So any piece of paper that comes into your life, I can say probably fits into 3 categories. It can be tossed, so again, that's shredded or recycled or trashed. It can be filed, or you can take action on it. Filing it, or at least going into the file pile or to file, or tossing it should be done right away, because those should just take a few seconds. If it's getting filed, we already have our filing system created. It should take 2 seconds to throw in there. And again, if it's getting tossed, that should also take 2 seconds. For any action papers, which we have left, if that action takes 2 minutes or less, don't wait. I recommend doing it right there. So if it takes 2 minutes or less, do it, then get rid of that piece of paper and don't hesitate on it. Things that might fall into this 2 minutes or less rule might include signing a permission slip and sending it back, for instance. And so for those things that take more than 2 minutes, which obviously would be the rest of it, and still need action, those can go into another area. So things like writing a business report or doing your taxes, and maybe paying your bills takes longer than 2 minutes. All those things would go into action items but take longer than those 2 minutes. Again, another example, signing your child up for camp or seeing if you and your spouse want to attend a show in a few months. Those items would probably take longer than 2 minutes to figure out or schedule, so those would not be part of this. But if it's anything that can be done in 2 minutes or less, I suggest doing it right then. Maybe it's filing a medical receipt that you got from a doctor's office, or trashing that. Again, we'll go into this a little bit later, but that's exactly what that 2-minute rule is, and those 3 rules that are under step 5 for keeping it up for the rest of your life. Now, I just want to talk for a few minutes, and make sure to stick around because we're going to have a question and answer after this at the end, to answer all of your individual questions. But I want to go back and let you know that paper is the biggest hurdle for most people. When I polled my clients, 9 out of 10 said that paper was the hardest area for them to keep organized and get organized to begin with, and it caused them the most overwhelming stress. So it caused them to waste time, money. It paralyzes some people, which enables them or doesn't have them able to make quick decisions and timely decisions about important things. So all of you who are on this webinar today are not alone, because 9 out of the 10 people that I work with on a daily basis, and I've been doing this for many, many years now, say that paper is the biggest organizing hurdle for them. So what you need to do to fix this problem and not fall into that statistic ever again is basically what we talked about on this webinar. And we covered 5 steps that you need to use to get your paper organized once and for all. We also talked about the specific order in which these steps need to be included and done, and how much time you need to put behind this. We also talked about how this is not a quick fix. I promise you that if you follow all the steps in the order that you've seen here today on this webinar, that you will be successful. You will accomplish this and you will never have to organize your paper again. And I just want to know, all of you who are on this webinar today, please, in the comment section, write yes if you are ready to take power over your paper. I just want to see, I know we've gone through a bunch of steps right now, and we're almost out of time with things, but I want to know if you guys are still on this webinar, which we have tons of people, and if you're ready to take power over your paper. Okay, I'm seeing a lot of yeses. I'm seeing Lee, ready. Elizabeth, yes. Michael, so ready with 3 exclamation points. Emma, can't wait. Olivia, yes. Ashley, yes, please. Jess, I'm ready. Chris, yes. Linda, yes. Naomi, yes. Courtney, yes. Roya, absolutely. Helen, sign me up. Linda, yes. Ready. Jess, okay. We are ready to take power over our paper. That is why a lot of us are on this call, and hopefully actually all of us on this webinar today are ready to take power over it. So, do I guarantee success? No, but everyone's thinking why? Okay, so here is the why. The problem that so many people have is that they don't want to put the time and energy into taking power over their paper. They maybe want to watch some free videos and read some articles about how to organize paper, but with all the conflicting information out there, they don't actually know where to start. Or they want to hire someone like me to do it for them. The problem is, to make a big impact with anything, you need to do it yourself and be involved. This is a learning process for a lot of people. By the time you complete the boot camp, which I'm about to tell you about in a second, it will be ingrained in your brain on how to organize paper and how to keep up with your specific and individualized tailored system. I promise you. So if you're willing to put in the work and take this boot camp that I'm about to talk to you about and learn the steps by steps, and I can absolutely guarantee your success. This is why you are on this webinar today. You are different from the majority of the people that I know, and you guys want to take action. You're here taking notes. You are wanting to get to know what to do next, and there is plenty of free information out there, but how do you know if it is good information? I want to let you know that my paper organization system has been tested over and over again, and it works. And you are much more likely to stick to something and complete it when you have some skin in the game. I'm a true believer in that. If you have some money behind it or something to lose, you will be in it. And that is why the people that sign up for this boot camp and put the work in it are successful and never need to purchase another book or how-to video about paper organization over and ever again. So my 5-step Take Power Over Your Paper Bootcamp gives you all the exclusive information about not only what to do to get organized, but the exact details and actionable steps to get it done. I've only given this information to my hands-on clients and my coaching clients, and now all of you guys on this webinar today. So I've weeded out the bad, the plain useless information on organizing tips that we've all seen online or in magazines or even books, and I've created an intensive boot camp that's going to get you the results that you want. I know that you don't need another course telling you what you need to do to get organized. You actually need to know what to do. You need to know how to get organized. And if you all knew what to do, you wouldn't be disorganized in the first place, and I absolutely would be out of a job. So I want to give you all the information and secrets I've learned as a professional organizer and help you take control over your paper for good. I want to answer your individual questions and help you set up a system that you can maintain and that fits your individual and unique lifestyle. But because of the individual attention you get as a member of our Take Power Over Your Power Bootcamp, I can only let 25 people into this course anymore, and I wouldn't be able to promise my attention, support, and accountability that I can guarantee the members of this bootcamp. So I'm going to talk about a few bonuses and this, but I really believe and truly know that the people on this webinar today are in it to win it. So I'm going to offer the first 33 people that sign up for this boot camp, and we'll talk a little bit more about it, are going to get a phone coaching session with me at the completion of the boot camp. So again, I'll go through that in a little bit. So here's a quick testimonial of someone who went through my boot camp system, and keep in mind she did this through extensive coaching calls, not virtually. So this is the first time I'm offering this boot camp as a go at your own pace digital boot camp. So you get 5 modules over 5 weeks. They're released week by week in the order that they need to be completed. Each of these modules go through one step of my process and takes you through it piece by piece using easy and actionable steps. You get the guidance of a professional organizer in your own home for much less than in terms of money. My coaching rate is usually $145 an hour, and each of these modules is valued at least that. So if you're going to go by time alone, which you shouldn't because they give you so much more information than I would ever be able to do in one coaching call per hour. And then you get to keep these modules forever, which I think is the most important part of this whole thing. You can watch them once, you can watch them as many times as you need, but you get 5 modules and you can see the total value of that right now. In addition to the 5 modules that you get, you're also going to get bonus videos, which are going to include specific tips and tricks you can use to organize your digital life once you've started to take things paperless. These bonus videos are going to walk you through what you need to do, even for those unfamiliar with computer programs, because I know there's a lot of you out there that you're going to be able to follow along with them, I promise. I cannot wait to show you these videos. They are truly informative, and we're valuing these videos, as you can see below. You also get worksheets with each module that consist of homework and other information to help you accomplish your goals and stay on track. I'm going to give you the exact printables I use in my home and in business to keep my paper organized. These are the exact printables I've used to make my life organized, and you can see the value there. As a member of my bootcamp, you're also going to get exclusive access to the Take Power Over Your Paper accountability group on Facebook. And this group is going to be a space where you can ask me questions at any time, post pictures, get encouragement for others in the group. I cannot stress this enough, that having the support and accountability of me and a group of people who are on the same journey of you is priceless. I couldn't be more excited about this aspect of the bootcamp, which I truly think is key because we are all in this together. We all have our struggles with paper, and this is extremely priceless. There's one more thing. For those of you who are wondering what to do after you get your paper organized, what area of your home you're going to be inspired to get organized next, because I can promise you there will be a next. You're going to be inspired to work on other areas. So for every one of the members of the Take Power Over Your Paper Bootcamp, you're going to get my amazing organizing products called Organize in a Box for free. So Organize in a Box, for those of you who don't know, is a step-by-step guide for getting your entire home organized, and also features some really fun home organizing products from poppin.com. That's going to help you get your paper and home organized. Organize in a Box is available online for anyone that would buy it on my site at $69.95. But as a member of the Power Over Your Bootcamp, you're going to get it absolutely free. It's going to get sent right to your door. There are 6 colors, and you get to choose which color is going to come to you. There's also some great charts in it for how long you're supposed to keep your makeup, your food, your paper, and much, much more. So that's a wonderful and exciting thing that I'm so excited to give to all of those people who sign up for the bootcamp. So this means that the entire bootcamp is valued at over $1,400, but you're gonna get everything that I mentioned for just $297, which is an amazing deal. But I don't want you to wait. You need to sign up today to ensure your spot. There, as I mentioned, are only 25 openings, and it's going to go live right now. Here's the link, and also I'm going to have Jordan hopefully post it in the questions box so you can access it maybe a little bit easier. Registration opens right now, and once my 25 spots are gone, they are gone. And I want everyone to know that you deserve the individual attention, and you're going to get it in this boot camp. So if you head on over there right now, that's amazing. Stay on the webinar though, because I'm going to answer all of your individual questions right now. And I'm going to let you know once I see that you've purchased it. I'm going to let those people know in the comments. And also keep in mind that the special bonus, I said if you're one of the 3 people for today that grab your spot in the boot camp, you're going to get the private coaching session with me. This is really about you. I can't stress it enough. You know, it's finally committing to yourself, finally getting your paper organized. I know it feels overwhelming to finally do something about it, but trust me, getting organized with your paper affects your life in all different ways. The biggest excuse I hear every single day is that we are so busy. You know, we can't commit to this now. I'm going to do something about it later, but not now. But it is just the opposite. I truly believe that committing to something, and if you don't commit to it, you're going to be overwhelmed. You're going to have less time when your kids grow up or you have more activities, and you want to gain back time to devote to your own interests. And paper is not going to stop coming in, but it doesn't have to stop you in your tracks. And trust me when I say that having paper organized will affect you in more ways than one. Okay, so the first module is going to be released shortly. And I encourage you again to take action now. You are on this webinar for a reason. Whether you're drowning in paper and can't invite anyone over, or you haven't opened your coat closet in years because you're hiding all the paper that's in there and it's embarrassing or overwhelming to look at, there's only one way to solve this problem forever, and that is to take action. And I don't want you to wait around. I want you to be part of this boot camp and never have to worry about paper again. It has truly helped me in many stages of my life and continues to. We can only control so many things, but I promise you this is going to change your life. Having my paper organized and having systems in place has given me such a better grip on so many areas of my life, and I promise you that I'm not just saying that. So again, to repeat, you will get automatic access within a few days of signing up. And I know I promised to move on to the question and answers section right now of this, but I will also continue to talk about my paper boot camp because I'm truly excited about it. So what I want to do now is move into the questions when we have a few minutes left. Okay, I see, just to let Jordan know, I would like to join, but it copy from Naomi. Maybe Jordan can get the link up there. Oh, there you go. Jordan just posted the link because it's in there right now. Okay, so in the last few minutes of today's webinar, I would love to get your individual questions and answer any questions that you do have about the boot camp and exchange. And I'm going to try to go back to, if you bear with me, my live screen so you can actually see me. Let's see, can you all see me? Let's see. Okay, so our link is posted. The link is posted now in the chat room, and I'm gonna try to see if you can see me while you also, let's see. Okay, hopefully you guys can see me now. Sorry, this is where I get technologically stopped. Okay, so I can answer your questions right now. Can you all see me? Hopefully you guys can see me again in your screen so that I can actually, there we go. Okay, very close up. So I would love to answer your questions right now about the boot camp, which I'm, again, so excited for and truly believe in it. So if you have any questions, just let me know. And as soon as we have the first 3 signups, I will absolutely start talking about them. Okay, and hopefully get to them too. So let me just see, I have questions coming in right now. Okay, so I have Megan. What do you do if you live with keeps too much paper? Okay, Megan, we are going to talk about this because your issue is very common. There are tons of people who are on this webinar that live with someone else, live with children, live with other people in their family. And so I think first it's about getting your systems in place, and then you can talk about those systems with your family or with anyone else that is in your family, because I truly believe they need to be bought into a system as well, or you are going to be butting heads, but they should be part of the process as well. Again, let me just make sure I'm seeing all the questions here. Okay, I have Kelly. What is in the bonus videos again for the boot camp? Okay, good question. So one of the videos that we're going to go through is going digital. I think it's extremely helpful and a very easy to use video about going digital with your or going paperless and how to use digital systems to do that. And we go step by step. I'm all about checklists and checking things off. This should not have to be hard. And for a technologically not inclined person, I can tell you it is extremely easy to use. So that's one of the bonus videos that you are going to get. So I just let you know that. Okay, so sorry, tons of questions here. Okay, Angie, I want to be part of the boot camp, but I am really worried I won't have the time with a newborn and a 2-year-old, and I'm already overwhelmed. Okay, Angie, you are not alone. I want to tell you that a lot of people who are on this webinar have small children. Paper, you're in the trenches right now, just knowing as a mom, but being able to commit to something and have an accountability group will be valuable for you. The videos come out once a week, and you do not have to do them all at once. The great thing about this is that you'll have access all forever. So if you can't make, you know, a video, there's no such thing. You can watch it in your downtime if your children are napping. I think it's about accountability and being able to have those videos for the rest of your life. So the time is now. You're on this webinar. You've given yourself time out of today to actually learn the steps, and so now it's about implementing it. I don't want you to leave and then not be able to work on the action, but again, this will be getting it, you know, you'll have it for the rest of your life. Okay, Susie, what scanner do you recommend for going paperless? Okay, Susie, in the boot camp, I'm going to go through all of my recommendations of scanners, email systems, iCloud solutions, products, anything that I recommend. I'm going to give all of those links, and there will be some discounts and all that in the boot camp. So that is all part of the boot camp, and that's a great question, because I do have some favorite products that I do believe are helpful when it comes to going paperless or using, you know, different scanners or things like that. Okay, Hillary, congratulations. You are the first person today that has gotten the free session. Okay, great. All right, so 2 more so far, and I'm going to keep going through these questions because I know that there are a bunch of questions here. Okay, I have Hillary. What do I do if I cannot finish in the 5 weeks? Okay, great question, Hillary. There is no time limit. That the 5 weeks is just how often the videos are released. So again, if you don't finish it in that first week and you are on to week 2 and another video pops up into your inbox, don't worry about it. The 5 weeks is just a guide. If you can't finish it in 5 weeks, again, you're going to have all this information for the rest of your life, and you can access it always. And the Facebook group is always going to be open to, you know, again, see other people's, keep accountability going, because Facebook, I don't think is going away anytime soon. Okay. Fran, can I give another example of main category versus subcategory? Yes. Okay, so Fran, when we're talking about a main category, we want to talk about something broad. And again, this is going to be different for everyone. But for example, if you bank at Bank of America, and again, I'm just using this as an example, you might want to use banking versus Bank of America, because you might have several accounts at the same bank. So your general main topic would be banking, and then within it you would have different accounts. Maybe there's different accounts at different banks, or you have savings accounts versus business accounts. Again, that main category would be general, and then underneath that, within it would be the subcategories of the different accounts. You can do this for insurance, if there's business insurance or life insurance, car insurance, again, home insurance, all those could be within insurance if that's the way that you're going to be able to categorize it. Yay, Naomi. Okay, I see. Wonderful. Welcome to boot camp. You are number 2. Please keep signing up. I know it might seem overwhelming right now and doesn't seem like you are going to be able to get through the stacks of paper maybe in your basement, your home office, but I promise you it works. I've been through many, many life stages, and I can tell you paper, unfortunately, doesn't come. It sometimes comes more, or doesn't stop. It sometimes comes in waves. But I can tell you that having a system in place does help. Everything else, there's a lot of things we can't control, but we can control that system. We can always come back to that system if we veer off or go on vacation for a week. Whatever it is, having a system in place will make it less overwhelming, I promise you. I have experienced this myself. Tons of my clients have used this system and it has worked for them. It's about taking out the stress and taking about the overwhelm and the embarrassment, really, because you are doing this on your own time. I am just here to guide you as a professional organizer who has been doing this and tested all these systems both personally and with clients over the years. I cannot explain to you and tell you enough how this works. And so I know we're a few minutes past our point right now of, I told you the 60 minutes for this webinar, but I do have a ton of people still on the webinar, and I would love to get to as many more questions as I can. So please continue to send in your questions right now, and I will hopefully answer a bunch of them. Okay, I have Marilyn saying, what is Organized in a Box again? Okay, Marilyn, Organized in a Box is a home organization product that I created. It comes in 6 different colors, and you can find out more about it at organizedinabox.com. But it is a guide for your entire home. It comes in a box straight to your door with everything that you need. There's a playbook inside of it, which is not exactly a book, because I don't think you need another book in your home, but it's a guide, step-by-step, easy things to do for every room in your home, and it gets you completely organized. It also comes with some products from poppin.com that will help you get your home organized. And all these products can be used in multiple ways, and we tell you how to use them. And also included in that playbook are guides. So I get a lot of questions about how long do I have to keep paper? And this is going to be part of the boot camp, I should mention. There are guides on how long you should keep certain types of paper, what you need to keep. There's also some guides on how long we should keep makeup, because I know a lot of women keep makeup for longer than they should. There are guides on how long you should keep food. There's also a guide on organizing products around your home, but it's for your home to get it organized and everything you need in one box. And again, as I mentioned, it comes in 6 different colors. And if you sign up for the boot camp, you get one of these boxes for free, which I'm really excited about, because I promise you, promise that after your paper is organized, I cannot imagine that you will not go into another area or room in your home or office to start to organize something else in that physical space. And I know this sounds like a salesy commercial, but I promise you that the benefits of organizing are not just the physical, but also the mental parts of things. And so there are benefits to getting your paper organized. Everyone is here today for a reason, and I know a lot of those reasons are they want to get this done. It's been overwhelming. I finally need to have a system in place. I keep saying I'm going to do it. Do it today. There is no reason that you shouldn't be doing it today. I can't stress enough all the great things that we're going to be doing in this boot camp. Having other people that are in the same stages, I can't explain that, and the benefits that it will give you both physically and mentally to getting your paper clutter organized for good. Okay, let me just see if I can get to a free, let's see, congrats, Hillary. Okay, let me just get to a few more questions. Will I be in the Facebook group? Yes, I am absolutely in the Facebook group. Jordan, my assistant's in the Facebook group. We'll be in there all the time. That, I think, is the best part of it. You get to answer your individual questions all the time. And I know we are all come up on individual questions and answers that we need. So I will be in the Facebook group the entire time. So that is a benefit of you having me and being part of this boot camp also. Okay, I have another question. My filing cabinet, Kara, is always crumpled and sticking out. I've never been able to make it look neat. Is that even possible? Yes, that is absolutely possible, Kara, and we will go over actual systems, products if you want to use them. I'll give suggestions on, again, how to create those folders. We go into all the steps that we talked about today into more detail. You get to ask questions. You get the physical and the visuals of how to do it. But yes, absolutely, you will be able to get that filing cabinet looking neat. I think that being neat is a benefit, and having that filing cabinet or any other place, your desk, your office desk, is a benefit to being organized. We're going to talk about the organization and the systems around it and the emotional part of it. But, you know, that's a second benefit to coming into it. Okay, I'm just looking here. We have about only 10 more spots of the 25 left right now. So again, I know we're going over, but hoping to ask these questions. And I'm so excited for all those people that have purchased the boot camp. I can't wait to see you both, you know, physically and virtually in the Facebook group and with all the videos, because I'm so excited that you are finally going to get everything with your paper organized and having these systems. It's not about organizing it and then having to do it every, you know, few months for the entire day. This system will get you through all the rest of your life. There might be small tweaks throughout it or maintaining it, but that's not what it's about. It's about creating that one system that you can use and use from now until whenever. Okay, I have another question, Shannon. How do you know what to shred versus what is okay to throw away? Good question, Shannon. A lot of the times, things that are shreddable, I tell people, are things with sensitive information. So if you have a shredder, that's great. If you don't, I will give you some other product suggestions on what you can use to sort of black out some of the sensitive informations. Shannon, I'm just reading this question again. Had my identity stolen a few years ago and now I'm paranoid. Okay, so we'll go into that, and we also go into, you know, what you can decide on and what needs to actually go into the shred pile versus recycle versus, you know, just period out of your filing cabinet or off your desk, because that's a big component of this, is people keeping too much paper. We are going green as a society. I completely understand that, but people still have so much paper. Okay. I see someone asking if they'll miss out a lot if they're not on Facebook. No, absolutely. I realize that not everybody is on Facebook, and that is okay. This is just another part of it. We will still have other ways to feel accountable and be accountable, both with me and everyone else who is in the boot camp. So not to worry if you are not on Facebook. That's just another part of it, but not a necessity. It's just another area of it. Okay. Yay, 3 more people. Let's keep it going. I'm so excited for you guys to join this boot camp. So now we have our 3. But that doesn't mean you should stop signing up, because again, I know you're still on this call and we're over by several minutes. So you must be over and on this call or webinar for a reason. And so again, I want to keep answering your questions about the boot camp, about you know, paper that you do have that I can answer in the last few minutes, because I don't want to keep you too much longer. How do I stop the junk mail? Okay, Barbara is asking how you stop the junk mail from coming in. Great question, Barbara. I'm going to give you some companies, really easy steps. Again, these things should take 10 minutes tops, but I'm going to give you a list, a to-do list in the boot camp of, you're just going to check off, did this, did this, did this. And so there's a bunch of things that we are going to talk about in the boot camp. Sorry, my computer is going to die, so I'm putting the plug in. So I'm going to give you a list of what you can do in 10 minutes or less, and some actionable steps that you are going to take to get rid of all of that junk mail from coming in. And we're going to stop that again for good, because there's no reason that you should still have junk mail coming into your house after this boot camp. Okay, then I have Mary, what do I need to keep for taxes? Okay, great question, Mary. Also, there's a whole long list of what you need to keep. If you are a business, a small business owner, or a big business owner, we're going to give you that list of what you need to keep for taxes. And then also, if you are just an individual filing taxes, what you need to keep. And then the process for once you filed and what you need to keep, when to weed out that next year's, or how many years you need to keep your taxes. We're going to go through all of that as well on the boot camp. Okay, I have sentimental papers. Okay, Melanie says, and I just can't throw them away. I have a lot of artwork for my children and things that I keep from my own childhood. Okay, what do you do? So Melanie, emotions are the reason one of the reasons we are going to do this boot camp. It is what surrounds us from holding on to all the paper that we don't necessarily need to hold on to. I can tell you that there is an entire video on the emotional part of this, because it is emotional, and I know that sounds crazy to a lot of people with paper, but again, maybe you're not emotionally attached to your bills, but you might be emotionally attached to these things, the artwork that you mentioned. So we're going to go through that. Do you need to keep every single piece of artwork from your child? Probably not, but how do you make those decisions on what to keep and what not to keep? What do you do if you have no room? What do you do if you have room and it continues to just keep piling up because you do have the room? We're going to go into all of that and more this emotional section and video in the boot camp. So I'm hoping you're going to join us, Melanie, because it's going to be a huge part of that. Okay, a few more questions. Okay. I see that Deborah, you were late. If I could go through the first 3 steps. Okay, really quickly, Deborah, let me go back so that we can go through the first 3 steps. But the first step here, and I'm not going to go into everything, was purge, but you can just get a sense here a little bit more. You're going to take it 1 stack at a time, and you're going to toss and recycle, and then you're not going to sort at this point. Since you're late, absolutely email me. I will answer questions by email as well, because I don't want to take up too much time with going through the rest of these. And Deborah, all of this information is in the boot camp as well, which you are going to be able to do yourself, because I know you're going to sign up. 2 was sort and organize. You're going to categorize your papers into a main category and create piles. And then you're going to go pile by pile and create subcategories. And medical papers, for example, or papers that relate to your daughter or son or just by yourself. Again, you're going to go pile by pile to create the subcategories once you've created those main categories. Okay, and then step 3, and I know I'm breezing through it, but we're really over, is creating individualized systems. So you're going to take out a pen and piece of paper at this point, and you don't need to look at those stacks, but you're going to write down all the categories of paper that you think you need. And when I say think big, those are the general categories like medical or insurance, household, receipts, things like that. Those are going to be your hanging files, the main files. And then you're going to do this again with subcategories. So those are the folders that go into your main folders, main hanging folders. Again, I know I'm breezing through this really quickly, but just wanted to catch you up on those 3 steps again. And I'm going to go back one more time to the link. Actually, maybe I'll run through really, really quickly one last time all of the modules that you are going to get on the boot camp. We do, I'm just looking, have a few more spots left. Not many, but a few. So again, I know there are tons of you guys on this call still. So hoping to get to your questions, but let me just go over the boot camp one more time and see if you guys have questions. So you get 5 modules spanned over 5 weeks, and I cannot explain to you the value that they have, but they're definitely more than an hour's worth of my time. So they're packed full of information. Then you're going to get these bonus videos that are going to teach you the specific steps that you need to get digitally organized to go paperless. I'm so excited about these videos, and maybe that's because I am, just learned a few years ago about digital organization and have used it completely and to the fullest. But these are my exciting bonus videos that I know will be beneficial. Next, you're going to get worksheets and homework and printables. Don't be scared about the homework or the worksheets or the printables. It just keeps you more on track. It gives you the step-by-step things to fill in, more your individual system. It just helps you tweak things a little bit more. They're yours to keep forever. They might change if you go through a life change, kids grow up, or whatever it is, but those are yours to keep for life. Then you get the exclusive group membership, which I talked about. For those of you, you can ask me on Facebook, you can ask me other places as well, but that's a lifetime membership, which again is priceless. I mean, if I tried to put a value on that, it's a lot of time and individualized attention, which I'm excited to do, but I don't think I can put a price on it. And if I did, it would be a lot. And then next, you're going to get Organized in a Box, which again, I'm also excited about. I Can't explain more than I did about Organize in a Box, but it's value at, you know, almost $70 plus shipping. You're gonna get it for free. It's such a fun product and also informative. It gives you step-by-step on how you get your home organized. And as I mentioned before, I can't imagine that once you get your paper organized, you're not gonna wanna get or feel the need, because you're gonna see the benefits, what paper and that does to you both physically and mentally, that you're gonna wanna get your home organized. So this is a great benefit. And even if you don't wanna use it, you can maybe give it to a friend as a gift. It's been really valuable as a gift for someone who's moving, or a mother or, you know, sibling like that who needs some steps to get organized, and this is the guidance of a professional organizer. So again, just to review, you get 5 modules, bonus modules, worksheets, exclusive group membership, Organize in a Box. You get so much. It's hard to even value all of these things. And I can't explain how little of money this is for the investment of something that will be forever. And the benefits are priceless. So this is what you get for your price today at $297. Again, the registration is live. We have a few more spots available. I hope you will join me. I'm so excited about all the people who have signed up from this webinar today. And I hope to see you all in the webinar. We'll have it open until the spots are gone, but hopefully you'll do it today and get in on all the, you know, tips and tricks and everything else that we're going to have in all these videos. And I just want to thank you for taking your time. I know I'm talking quickly, but I'm trying to get in because I know we are way over on our 60 minutes that I promised you in the beginning of this, but I'm really proud of you for taking the time today, and I'm really glad that you joined me, and hopefully it was really informative to start to get your paper organized. We'll go through everything absolutely in more detail. It's going to be fun, which no one thinks paper and getting it organized is fun, but I promise you it will be fun. And I can't wait to see you all there. So again, if you haven't signed up today, which hopefully you will, sign up as soon as you can. And let me just see. Okay, Jordan's telling me to congratulate all those people who have signed up already. Okay, so I just want to congratulate Naomi. I want to congratulate, hold on, my list here. Okay, I have Sam, Ali, Naomi, Barbara, Hillary, Linda, Chris. Sorry, I'm just looking through all my people here. Emma, Michael, Susan, Jennifer, Candace. Yay to all these people. I'm so excited. Sorry, and I'm also inside the webinar here. Glenn, Annie, David, and Helen. Okay, there's room for a few more, not many. Hold on, one more. Liz. Okay. So excited to all of you guys, and thank you so much. I'm so excited that you've taken this step to get your paper organized. I promise it's going to be worth your time and effort and money. And it's going to be more than exactly that you paid for. And I can promise that because the benefits, again, will be lifelong. So I look forward to seeing you in the boot camp. Thank you again for attending today's webinar, and hope to see you in the boot camp and in the future. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.